Okay, so just a reminder, I do not record the Zoom. That's weird. I'm just recording my iPad screen, and then I have the class camera just over your head. So if you're looking at my webcam, there's a camera right behind it. That's the normal class camera. So I'm not recording a Zoom. That's weird. No one wants to see that. So my computer's over here, so that's why I'm constantly looking this way in case you're going to type in the chat. I think the chat should work now. Sorry, I must have had it disabled from yesterday. Yeah, so thanks for being here. I know it's time out of your day that you're kind of in class, but we're supposed to be in class anyway, so thanks for being here. And it's good that it's the morning, so it's just out of the way and you don't have to worry about it the rest of the day. I've already submitted a Google question of the day. Your question of the day asks to name the roots for the second problem we're going to do today in the examples. So you have to name, those two numbers that would be potentially the x-intercepts on my problem. So that'll be what we're going to do today. I've also submitted an assignment on Google Classroom for you that's due this Friday. It's 5 problems. I submitted I believe it probably shows up on Google Classroom already. I attached the document, so if you can open Word documents on your computer at home, or I just put the picture there in case you can't open that Word document. You can always look at the picture and do the work. You're going to have to do it on a separate sheet of paper. And then I want you to submit all of your homework via Google Classroom. So just attach it in there. I had it yesterday. People were figuring out that they could attach the homework. So just attach it either by a picture or a Google Doc containing a photo of that work that you've done. And that's due on Friday. So even if you're here present on Friday, because I know half of you will be here on Friday, just make sure you submit it via Google Classroom. So that way we're going to eliminate the cost of paper and stuff. You can leave them in your notebooks and whatnot. I'm going to do that from now on because I don't know how long distant learning will go for. So I'm going to keep the system going. I think it's going to work perfect for us. We're going to take a few problems. We're going to do a few examples today. I'm going to do 3 examples, unless we need more. I know a couple of you stuck around yesterday right after class. You had a couple questions. That was great. I know that I made the assignment from last Friday. I think it was page 336. That's due tomorrow if you're in class. If you're not, turn in on the Google Classroom and stuff. That one, I understand that you may have just a physical copy. Maybe you already turned it in to me and I'll hand it back, tomorrow or Friday. So, but again, thanks for being here. I know it's kind of tough. But this is time out of your day and I'm hoping that I can honor that. We won't use the whole entire class period. I know we're in here until like 10:15 or something like that. I'm not going to do that to you. So we'll be done a little bit early. I do need to know who PKF6J is. So whoever that is, you want to unmute your camera or just type in the chat who you are. I need to know that for attendance purposes so I can get you marked down. Oh, perfect, got it. Sorry, it comes up as weird letters and stuff. Better take attendance here real quick before we get started. I don't want to miss anybody. That'd be terrible. I don't want to count anyone absent if you're not. All right. I think I got mostly everybody here. We have a couple extras that won't be here this afternoon, so thanks for being here. We'll get started here in a second. Alright. Okay, I think I got everyone marked. Alright, we'll have probably a couple stragglers coming in kind of randomly, but I think we got everyone kind of marked here that's going to be here. Let's start taking some notes here. Again, I record this. I'll post it after school today. Sorry, yesterday it took forever for Google to process that, YouTube to process the video I posted yesterday. It took a long time. I think it went live at like 10:30 or something like that last night. Somebody emailed me it wasn't working, and then suddenly it started working. I can't predict that. I'm gonna have to apologize. I posted the video, on my iPad screen that I recorded, and then I did a little picture-in-picture so you could see my face and you could see the interaction and you could see kind of my hand gestures and stuff, and it kind of covered some of the work sometimes. I'm sorry, I don't know if there's a better way to do it. I still think it's important, and if you're live in class anyways, you probably have the notes anyways, and I submitted screenshots of the work. So if you're really struggling, like I couldn't see that problem, I couldn't see the work you did, I always include the pictures of the notes from my iPad. I just take screenshots as we go. So you can always look through the pictures on my website for that particular day. So I'll post it after school today. I think I got a system down where I can do it really quickly now. But yeah, yesterday was a trial and error period. I had to figure out real quick how to process that. So we're going to do 3 problems today, unless you need more of the exact type of problems you're going to be doing in your homework. Remember, the second problem today is the problem you're going to have to submit via Google Classroom, the solution to it, the roots of it. So the goal is to do quadratics and roots for find x-intercepts. They call them zeros in the textbook, but this is the type of problem that we're dealing with today. Ax squared plus bx plus c. That's the type of function we're doing. It can be any type of quadratic. It can have any a, b, or c number. Those are just digits. They can be positive, negative, decimals, fractions, whatever. And we're plugging them in to this formula, which we call the quadratic formula. It's negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4 times a times c divided by 2a. I know there's a little song and dance number. It's annoying, but you get the idea. And you plug those numbers in, and this formula just automatically spits out your x-intercepts every single time. And that's what we're looking at. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do 3 problems. I'll kind of pick just a weird one where maybe you get some weird numbers. Maybe you don't get any actual numbers, you get like imaginary. I'll do one that have nice pretty numbers. That'll be the second one. So that's the one you can submit on your Google question of the day. And then the third one, we'll just do a traditional one. So all right, but let's jump right in. I'm going to get to a couple of these here just so you can see it. But again, this is the formula I'm going to use pretty much for every problem. Even in the homework, you have 5 problems in the homework that's due on Friday. This is the formula you use on every single one of them, unless you can factor it, and we'll talk about that later. But let's jump right in. Let's do the first one here. All right, so first example, let me make up a quadratic here. So let's go with x squared plus 4x plus let's go 1. I'll just make up a weird number here. All right, so doing the math here, my a, b, and c number, well, a is a 1, b is a 4, and c is a 1. Those are my numbers for my quadratic. I don't care if this is equal to f of x or whatever. That's just the name of the function. I don't care what term they put out front. This is my polynomial. I want it in descending order so I can figure out my a, b, and c. Now, plugging into the formula. The formula over here is this one. X is equal to negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4 times a times c, all divided by 2a. Okay, so this is the formula I'm going to use for every single problem, just so you kind of know it. Now, plugging in my numbers here. So I have my b numbers. This is negative 4 plus or minus. Again, these are my x-intercepts. These are what I'm going for. So it's negative b plus or minus square root b squared, so 4 squared, minus 4 times a times c, and a and c are 1s, and then 2 times a on the bottom. All right, and now just doing the math here, just so we can figure out the roots. Now this could be a weird decimal. These, we did the first one we did yesterday was decimals. So kind of going through the math here. Here's what we have. This would be negative 4 plus or minus. This is going to turn out to be 16 minus 4, all divided by 2. And if we do the math here, this ends up being negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 12 all over, let me write the 1, all divided by 2. Okay? All right. Okay, good. And so plugging these numbers in, this is what I get. So this is my functional value, right? Well, there's 2 roots here. So now the square root of 12, I'm going to type it in my calculator here if you need to see that. So I'm going to scroll up here just so I can see that camera. All right. Okay, so the square root of 12. So if I type that in my calculator, square root of 12 is about 3.4, 3.5-ish. Kind of if I rounded it. So this is going to be roughly negative 4 plus or minus 3.46 all divided by 2. And so now you can see why there's 2 answers on this problem. Again, this is the first example, so if you're here to get the Google question, this is only the first example. This isn't the second one. This is one that I wanted to do that gives you weird decimals, because that's that's a majority of the problems we do. We're going to get weird decimals. And so we're going to have two particular set of answers here. So now, what I mean by two answers, you have to go -4 plus 3.46 and divide by 2. So I'm going to type that in my calculator. So -4 plus 3.46 and then divide that answer by 2. And so it tells me -0.27. Or I subtract. So I go -4 minus 3.46 and then whatever that answer is, divide by 2. And so I get, or -3.73. And again, I'm ballparking. There's a lot of more decimal places. I'm just rounding really, really bad. But those are my two solutions, right? That's what I'm looking for. Those are the two roots. So on a graph, those numbers are where we would hit the x-axis. That's what this formula gives us. It's the zeros where you actually touch the x-axis. So we talked about that yesterday. So for instance, if your graph did something like this, these are the zeros. It's where you're crossing. That's what this formula gives you. It's those exact locations. And so the numbers on my problem, I'm hitting -0.27 and -3.7. So they're both on the the left side of the y-axis. All right, I'll stop there. Sorry, I'm talking a lot. I think the chat works and whatnot. Is there any questions with this first example? Something you didn't get? Maybe you didn't hear me? Something that you want me to clarify? But this is the goal. This is what we're doing. Again, if you want to talk, unmute yourself. Make sure you hit, maybe hold the space bar down and talk. I'm not trying to ignore you. Just make sure you unmute yourself. You don't need to unmute your camera. You can leave that muted. I'm fine with that. Okay. All right. Well, I'll take silence as you either get it or it's just too early for question time. So let's move on to the second problem here. And this is the one that everyone's kind of waiting for, right? You want to know what the solution is for the second equation. Let's do one of these. So this is gonna, this would be the one that you have to submit via Google Classroom with both answers for this one. So let's just kind of make up a problem here. Let's go with 2x squared plus 4x plus 2. So this is going to be my function. I can make up anything I want. I just made up this one. So this is my function. I'm going to plug it into my quadratic formula. I'll write the quadratic formula down as you guys are kind of writing this problem down. So that's x is equal to -b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4 times a times c, all divided by 2 and a. And no, a and c don't always have to be the same number. Sorry, I'm just picking random numbers in my head. So this is my a, this is my b, and this is my c. I'll pick different numbers on the next one. So, all right, but let's do the math here. So here's what we have. We're going to plug these numbers into that formula over there. So we're going to have x is equal to -b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4 times a times c, and then this is all over 2 times a. All right. So doing the math here again, you can see where I'm plugging those formulas in, where my a, b, and c are. If there's any negatives, you have to keep the negatives on them, so plug them into those parentheses if there's negative numbers. I don't have any. And now doing the math here, so what we're going to get, -4 plus or minus square root, and now 4 squared is 16 minus 4 times 2 is 8 times 2 is 16, all divided by 4. And so when we do the math here, the 16 minus 16 ends up being 0. So this is -4 plus or minus square root of 0, all divided by 4, right? And so the square root of 0 is 0. So what we're looking at here in this question is that this is going to turn out to be just -4. It's going to turn out to be -4 plus or minus 0 all over 4. Well, I don't need to have the 0 there. If you add 0 to anything, it's just, or subtract 0 from anything, it's just the number. So my answer ends up being -4 divided by 4. And -4 divided by 4 is just -1. There's one root. And so your Google form question of the day is, what are the roots for what are the potential roots for this quadratic? That's your answer. -1. So if you want to go fill out that Google form question, you can do that now. And a lot of you like to do that. Maybe you have your phone up and you're answering it. So kind of an easy question to answer. You just have to type in -1. That's the only number that works. So it only hit the x-axis once. So there's 1, 0. Now the reason why that happened, that was the lowest point. It was the point where it turned around. It actually just grazed the x-axis and turned around. It bounced off the x-axis right there. So I designed the problem that way. So, but yeah, kind of an easy kind of example. I just want to make sure you guys get to see that. Now, let's do one where the numbers don't work out nice and pretty. Kind of like the first one, but I want to show you something different, where potentially you don't have any x-intercepts. Because that can happen. You can have a problem where it doesn't hit the x-axis. The graph is too high or too low. It's facing the wrong direction. It doesn't have any zeros. It doesn't ever touch the x-axis. That can happen, and that's my last example today. But before I do that, I just want to make sure that you understand the second question, or the question on your Google form you have to answer. What is the root of your second problem today? It's that, -1. That's what you want to answer. All right, let's go to our next problem. So last problem of the day, unless you need more, I'm just going to make up a problem here. I'll try to pick different numbers, sorry. I've just been picking random numbers here. All right, so let's go with g of x is equal to 5x squared plus 2x, and let's go with plus 8. Let's say that this is my problem, and this is my quadratic. And I want to find the potential roots where this thing would hit. And so the formula is x is equal to -b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4 times a times c, all divided by 2a. And I have that formula printed on the worksheet today, the homework assignment you're going to get. If you haven't seen the Google form yet, I submitted out a homework that's due on Friday this week. You have 5 problems. You have to find the roots of each one, so you have to show the work. So do your work on paper, submit that picture on Google form, or attach it to a Google Doc and then submit that on the Google form. So you have to use Google Classroom to submit all homework from now on. We'll just do that from now on. It's easier to collect, and I'll have as much paper sitting in my classroom, especially if we go long-term distance learning for a while. So, all right, but let's do some of the numbers here, just so you can see the special case why I designed this problem. So x is equal to -b plus or minus square root. Now, b squared minus 4 times a times c, all divided by 2 times a. And why this is a special case and why I designed this problem is because you're going to notice what's going to happen here. -2 plus or minus square root, this is going to be 4 minus, what is that, 20 times 8, which is 160, all over 10. Well, here's the goofy part. You're going to get -2 plus or minus square root of a -156, all divided by 10. Why is this a problem? Can somebody state it? Maybe put it in the chat. Maybe you just know. Why is that an issue? Why would this problem, because we did all the math right, why is this a problem to me? Anyone know? You can unmute yourself, type it in the chat. What do you think? These are all very quiet. Why is this a problem? Anyone have any ideas? Yeah. Okay, good. A lot of you are already answering it. Yeah. You can't have a radical, like a square root, of a negative number. And you're absolutely right. The number in the radical sign is negative. You can't have that. It's an imaginary number. So what this means is that this causes an issue right here. Just this single number right here caused an issue. You can't have that. We actually have imaginary roots. This problem doesn't have a solution. It doesn't hit the x-axis. It's actually too high above the x-axis when it made its turn. It didn't actually touch the x-axis. So if you look at my drawing here, it's doing something like this. where it's turning too high and it didn't actually touch the x-axis. That's what's happening here. That does happen every now and then. I mean, you can put graphs anywhere you want, but that's just something you need to be aware of. The problems I submitted to you should have solutions. So it should be like the first problem where you have decimals, or like the second problem where maybe actually nice clean numbers. But this one, it could happen. This is something maybe you'd see more in like a calculus level. So, all right. Thank you for all those responses. Thank you, guys are really quick at typing. All right, I'm going to turn you loose here. If you have any questions, you can stick around. I always want to give you a couple minutes here. We got about 10 minutes left of class here. You can submit questions to me. You can stick around. You can ask. If you're good, you can go on the Google form, fill out that second question. Remember that second answer was -1. And then you want to go and try the homework today. I put the homework on the Google form. It's a document, and I also just submitted a picture in case you couldn't open the document. So that way you can at least do the homework. Just do it on a separate sheet of paper and submit that picture back to me, or put it on a Google Doc. But everything has to be submitted via Google Classroom from now on. So, all right, you guys can check off. You can sign out. Thanks for tuning in. We'll keep the same format going for the next couple days, even though I'll have half of you here. So see you later, guys. Couple people sticking around. You guys have any questions for me at all? Yeah, the worksheet, it should be in Google. It should be in the Google form. It should be right really close to, if you click on classwork, you should be able to see it's one of the questions. It should have came out about 12, or sorry, not 12, but about 9:40 it should have came out. It should be a picture. It should be or a document that you can open. So I'll go check it real quick for you there, Avery, but I think it should already be there. So period 3, classwork. Yeah, it should be there. So. See. Let's attach that picture. I'll try it again. Let's try to see if maybe just attaching another picture makes it work. There, you want to try it again? Hit refresh for me.
A word?
Yeah.
She's gone, by the way.
Oh, all right.
I have a question. So I wasn't in class yesterday.
Yes.
I didn't realize that we had to be in class.
Yes, that was a part of the emails that the administration sent out.
Well, I watched your video and I answered the question.
Yeah, so I've already changed so you're present.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Yep.
Thanks for that.
No problem. Thanks for tuning in. So.
And could you post the 9th period
the homework?
question?
Yeah. Yep. We'll do.
Okay.
So I'll get to that right here in a little bit. So.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks.
Have a nice day.
Yep.